So we're going to do a little example problem. It's called Mr. Lau's Dilemma. Here's how it works. It's all about your four-step calculation. Everyone thinks like, you did not get out a calculator, a pencil, and a piece of paper and do 4 steps with Mrs. Lau. And I did. I really did that. Yeah, I am an idiot. And yes, I did sleep on the couch that night. That's okay. A little therapy, we're okay. No problem. There we go. Am I recording? I am. Oh, here we go. Step 1, you make a sketch. Here we go. This is Mrs. Lau. She looks much better than this. Sweetie, if you're listening, I'm sorry. There you go. And we get our bill, and she's ticked. There we go. Oh, it looks like I drew a toupee on her. Oh, there we go. Anyhow, our bill was double. It was around $48. And if I get a $48 electric bill now, I'm happy. She was mad because she thought it was my fault the bill was double because, like I was telling you guys about, I would edit physics videos with VHS tapes. It would take 4 hours for every 1 hour video, so I would let it run all night. We say it wrong. We say that you get what from the power company? Electricity, right? But really all you get is energy. So let's not confuse that there. The English language is not precise enough there. So anyway, just a little sketch. It's not that helpful this time, other than you might get a little humorous laugh at my lame rendition of trying to draw the misses. Anyhow, step 2. List the what? Knowns and unknowns. In the end, 10 years from now, this is probably what most people will just care about. Just show me the what? The money. All you care about is how much is my bill. You don't care now? But when you got to pay it, you're going to care. So let's say in college, after your freshman year, you survive, you live in an apartment, and you got a crazy roommate who like leaves the heater on and big screen TV and makes popcorn and has a toaster oven on all the time, eating random pizzas, and you get like a $800 electric bill. And like, oh, let's split it, $400 a piece. You're like, I don't think so, right? So this is how you could actually figure it out. Got it? So let's cheat. Let's look in our toolbox. Usually I don't go to step 3 right away. Let's make your life easier. How do you find cost? How do you calculate electric bill? I just gave you that toolbox of equations there. Cost is equal to what? The rate that the power company is going to charge you, how many cents per kilowatt hours, times the actual what? Amount of energy that you use. Cost is equal to rate times energy in my lefty chicken scratch, right on the screen there. So let's break this down. Let's figure out the rate and then how much energy we use. So for you guys now, Hinsdale is a little bit over, the Hinsdale area is a little bit over 7 cents a kilowatt hour. At the time for me, this is like dirt cheap. Naperville is only charging 6.62 cents per kilowatt hour. And this will only go up in the future. I love how it's 6.62 cents. That's so goofy. Like you're going to cut up a penny into like 62 hundredths, right? So the only thing left is energy. Look in your toolbox. How do you find energy? Energy. Energy is equal to what? Power times time, right? Doesn't that make sense? The more electrical power you consume, the more things you plug in and turn on, and the longer you run it for, the more energy you're going to suck up there, right? Therefore, you should pay more. That's only fair, yeah? So Christmas lights are kind of interesting now. A lot of people are putting up decorations and all that. So the more lights you plug in, and the longer you run it for, the bigger your bill's going to go. So time is easy. So all I said is, well, sweetheart, it's not my fault the bill's so high. I didn't even leave my computer on all the time, but let's say I ran it for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for an entire month. How many hours are in a month? How do you figure that out? That's pretty easy, right? All you do is you take 24 hours in a day, and how many hours are in a month? How many days are in a typical month? 30, right? You just multiply by 30. So go and get out your calculator, punch that in for me really quick. 24 times 30, actually we can kind of do that. 24, 40, it'd be 720 hours, right? You don't have to do that in your head. You can just punch it in your calculator, yeah? So if your parents are giving you a hard time, you can, hey, Mom, no biggie. I got my Xbox on. It's, the whole month. No, don't do that. That's being smart alecky. But this is how you could actually figure it out. So the only thing that's left is the power. If we know time, we just need to know power to find energy. How do you find electrical power? If you look in the toolbox, power is just equal to either I times V, I squared R, and then the last form is V squared over R using Ohm's law substitution. So as long as you have amps, volts, or ohms, any 2 out of the 3, you can figure it out. So anybody know, how do you figure out how much power, like a computer or a TV or a monitor or an electric stapler? That's kind of cool. Got an electric stapler here. How do you know how much power it consumes? You just look on the what? On the bottom or on the back, there's usually a sticker, and it tells you, because you have to. In America, in order to sell something, see this little UL symbol? That stands for Underwriters Laboratory. It has to be UL listed because you have to plug it into the wall. That little power brick, which I have somewhere up here. What a mess. That's okay. And notice the input is 100 to 240 volts AC, 0.6 to 0.3 amps, 50 to 60 hertz. That means this will work in America as well as Europe. But this is what's important. It's an output. It's It's a AC transformer to DC power, okay? Because all semiconductors have to run on DC power. That's that brick you plug in when you charge your phone, your laptop. This thing kicks out 15V, 3A, and then that's a symbol for DC. What's that? 15V is for volts, and A is for amps. So this thing is a 15 volt, 3 amp power supply. 3 amps, and then the V for volts is 15 volts. So how can I get the power if I just have I and V? I just multiply the two, right? So 3 times 15, do you need a calculator? That's pretty easy, right? It's just 45 watts. So the only thing that's tricky is your bill is not in watts, because a watt is not a very big unit of power. Usually your electric bill is measured in what? If there's 1,000 kilowatts per watt, you just divide by 1,000 to get to kilowatts. So if I divide 45 by 1,000, it's 0.045 kilowatts. So now let's find the energy. How do I find energy? I just take the power and I multiply it by the what? By the time, right? So let's go ahead and get our calculator. Take 720 hours in a month times 0.045 kilowatts. We get 32.4 kilowatt hours. So what does that mean? That's how much power the laptop literally consumes if it was left on for an entire month. 32.4 kilowatt hours. That's the energy. So finally, if we know energy, we can find costs. That's all people care about at the end, right? If the rate is 6.62 cents for every kilowatt hour, and I multiply it by 32.4 kilowatt hours, the kilowatt hours cancel out, and I'm just left with cents, right? So all I got to do is take 32.4 and multiply it by the utility rate of 6.62 cents for every kilowatt hour. Excuse me, and I get a whopping 214.48 cents. What would the power company actually round that up to? They would just round it up to $2 and what? 14 cents? No, even though it rounds down, they would round it up to $2.15. You see that? So to summarize, how do we get the final costs? You need to know the rate, what you're being charged, and then how much energy you actually use. How do you find energy? Energy depends on how much power you're plugging in and how long you're sucking up that power for, the time. How do you get the power? You just need to know 2 out of the 3 electrical quantities, current, voltage, or resistance. So in the end, even if I left my computer on 24 hours a day, which I didn't, for an entire month, it would only add about $2 to our bill. So of course, my physics was superior, my mathematics was perfect, and logically, I'm right. So unfortunately, you do not argue with your newlywed wife on your electric bill using math. So that was very foolish of me. I did sleep on the couch that night. So sweetie, if you're watching this, sorry. And I finally figured it out. I'm the hero here. Except not really, because I was a doofus. The reason why your bill is double sometimes is really low tech. It's literally how the bill gets calculated every month. Every month someone has to physically what? Come by your home and take a reading, yeah? So what happens is in the winter months, because of the snow, sometimes they don't send somebody by. So in fact, they just guesstimate. They double your bill for that month. You see that? So one little tip is, when you're on your own, if money's a little tight, you can actually save money by calling in your actual meter reading on your bill, and you only have to pay then what you actually use there. So once I did that, I was out of the doghouse and didn't have to sleep on the couch anymore. So in the end, it's understanding how your bill is calculated and how it works there. So it's not mystery. It's actually very logical. And one day you'll be an old fart like me, and you might have little monkeys running around, and you'd be like, turn off the oven, close the door, you're putting us in the poorhouse. And what you could actually then do is figure out what's actually worth losing your hair over, and some things, not a big deal, you can let slide in terms of the actual energy consumption there. So in a nutshell, that's electric power.